So before I start this video, I want to tell you what gave me the idea for this video. So the other day I was watching TV Royale because I couldn't use YouTube since I was in China. But basically I was watching this game between two players at Ultimate Champion, and the match was between a HyperBait player and a minor Rocket mage. The game was incredibly close and it came to the last second of overtime, with the minor playing doing some insane defenses while pressuring the minors, which sounds like right for an Ultimate Champion player. But what really ticked me off was that the HyperBait player didn't have to do any defense and was just going all out offense. All he did was play Skeleton Kings and Skarmy and spam Dark Goblins and Evolution Skeleton Barrels with little to no regard with any resemblance of strategy or elixir management, which I felt like was wrong because one player was using all of its skill and tricks up their sleeves, while the other player just spammed Skeleton Barrels the moment he hit 3 elixir, which brings me to the topic of this video, HyperBait.
Mikey, no, Mikey, that was so not right.
He's screwed, because the skeletons aren't gonna die. Okay,
my disappointment is immeasurable.
Where the golden lane's not enough to reach it.
And my day is ruined.
You can save the tower for lucky. No, that's fine though. I don't really.
I can get a ton of damage. There you go. So when the bar gets that's when the second one drops, which is interesting.
Oh, he doesn't even have Evo E-Drag, now that I'm looking at it. Really bad tornado compared to what it used to be. And just like that, it is so hard to be a beatdown player.
No, the Evo Skelly Barrel, it's gonna take out the Rascals. Oh my god, look at that, guys. The Skelly Barrel, the Skelly Barrel. Let's get Eno. Oh my god. The Skeleton King. Can I see the Skeleton King? Oh my god. Wait. Oh my god. Oh my god. Your fireball. Oh my god. Oh, it can die. Oh my god.
He just goes, HyperBait! 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 This takes no skill, bro.
This deck is a disgrace to the game that prides itself on being a strategy game. So today I will go over some reasons why and how the HyperBait virus has been able to pollute this game. HyperBait as an archetype became mainstream around the release of the Boss Bandit, consisting of the new Suspicious Bush and Evolution Dark Goblin. I genuinely remember thinking this deck was one of those troll decks, like those 1.9 minor decks, or the decks that Ken plays in his videos, which is basically just 2 cards and 5 cycle cards and a Dark Goblin. This basically relied on all-out offense and using the Evolution Dark Goblin to bail you out on defense. Compared to Logbait decks, this deck removed the rocket and the building for faster cycle and stronger offensive. Looking back, this deck is literally just abusing the overpowered Boss Bandit and Evo Dark Goblin. So you would think after the Boss Bandit got nerfed and the Evolution Dark Goblin got killed, this archetype would die out, right? Well, no, because Supercell just adds more boosted evolution cards to this game, like the Evolution Skeleton Army, Evolution Skeleton Barrel, and Evolution Wall Breakers, which for their power level received extremely gentle nerfs, if any. These new additions would only make the deck more overpowered and less skilled, as now you have 3 cards in your deck that were dirt cheap and could do 1,000 damage in a second. Along with this, some major balance changes also help HyperBait a lot. One example of this is when Supercell increased the Dark Goblin's damage to be able to 2-shot archers for no reason, and this was massive since this 3 elixir card was now super fast, had insane range, and now also had insane DPS. These new developments would only strengthen HyperBait into a core part of the meta, which could be a good thing as development in the meta is not necessarily a bad thing, but the gameplay this archetype promoted would be the exact opposite of skillful. Now let me get into the reason why I even made this video, the gameplay of HyperBait and the strategy it promotes. Actually, scratch that because HyperBait doesn't require any strategy or skill. HyperBait is the only archetype that allows you to play all-out offense without needing to deal with any defending, as your opponent needs to constantly respond to your cheap spam cards, which prevents them from building a push, so you can keep on relentlessly spamming your Goblin Barrels and Evolution Skeleton Barrels until you win the game either from damage or causing your opponent to smash their device due to how rage-inducing it is to play against HyperBait, since it feels like you're always responding and always on the back foot, so it doesn't even matter what deck you crafted, since you don't actually get to play it, since the game just turns into a reaction speed test of can you catch the Dark Goblin and Evolution Skeleton Barrel until they get 700 damage on your tower. This ruins the strategy aspect of the game, since one guy needs to play near perfectly while the other guy is just going Skeleton Barrel, Dark Goblin, Evolution Skeleton Army. And before you think, bro was just mad because he lost, but remember the game in the intro where I talked about the minor player? Yeah, the minor player was Cal Sub, a professional Clash Royale player that made it to the finals of the CRL World Finals. So he's basically a top 10 player in the game, and he struggled heavily and lost, so even the best players can't even handle HyperBait. And imagine how it is for players that aren't nearly as good. And by the way, he didn't even get hard countered since he has 2 spells including the log and the royal delivery. So after complaining for 3 paragraphs, I want to provide a solution to this issue. Now, we can't just stop players from playing a certain archetype, but we can make it so that these cards aren't nearly as oppressive by giving them balance changes, since this archetype right now is just 6 boosted cards and 1 skillless concoction. I will mainly target these cards as they're the main issue of HyperBait. I think the first card on my hit list should be the Evolution Skeleton Barrel. This card is the major reason why everyone needs to play Electro Spirit and why HyperBait is so toxic. Personally, the idea of this card is just stupid, since they put 2 barrels in one and quadrupled the impact damage. Like, wow, that sounds extremely balanced, guys. I think at least the death damage of the first barrel should be removed and the extra impact damage of the second barrel should be halved so that it matches the base skeleton barrel. This allows more counters to this card and will make it slightly less punishing. The next card on my nerf list has to be the Evolution Scar Me. This card is so horribly designed since it practically forces out a spell no matter what, or else you are forced to play that invisible skeleton game mode from 2019, but it's 14 times worse. So what I would do is just make the undead skeleton only do 1/3 of the damage of a normal skeleton, while placing the general more in the middle of the Scar Me so it's harder to protect them. This would make him less overpowered when you don't have arrows, and not a complete nightmare when the general doesn't die. The third card in the files is the Dark Goblin, as this guy does way too much damage and is way too fast for how cheap he is. The change to this card is extremely simple. Just nerf his damage so he can't 2-shot archers, but make sure he barely 1-shot spear goblins. This makes it so he's nowhere near as annoying and makes him less punishing. Fourth card is Skeleton King. This guy is by far the most balanced card on the entire list, but this guy is literally just a graveyard spawner, so I'd make him slightly less tanky by nerfing his HP by 5%. Now, there are more boosted cards in HyperBait that are used, like Hero Mini P.E.K.K.A. and Hero Musketeer, but these cards are just overpowered in every single deck, so it's not just isolated to HyperBait. Now, if you think these nerfs are extremely harsh, well, that's kind of the point, since a deck that revolves around spamming boosted cards for the whole game and ruins all strategy, it shouldn't be a real thing. So after these nerfs, these HyperBait mains will actually need to learn how to play the game, and the deck won't just be nearly as brain dead and boosted as before. Anyways, thanks for listening to me complain for 4 paragraphs. Sorry this video took so long. I just had stuff I needed to do in IRL, so that's why I took so much time. But thanks for the patience. Like, subscribe, and do that stuff. Alright, bye.